looks like we are good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Wednesday live stream. Just want to make sure the stream is all good. But yes, if you're reading the title, we are going to Reefapalooza this weekend. It is coming up on June 22nd and 23rd. It's at the Meadowlands Center in Secaucus, New Jersey. Usually they advertise it as New York, but it is New Jersey. And we have a booth. We're going to be at booth 715. So if you are in the area or attending the show, make sure you come out. Yeah, if you live in the tri-state area, it's definitely worth the drive. You'll see some pretty cool stuff while you're there. And I think you'll enjoy it if you are into aquariums. Let me just want to fix this. There we go. All right. So, as we wait for people to pile in, and this is actually, we were supposed to stream last week, but didn't get the opportunity because Margaret had to work late, so it just didn't work out because I was watching the baby, and it's really hard to stream and watch the baby, so we didn't do it. So this week we're doing a live stream since I didn't get to do it last week, and yeah, so let's see what we got going on here. Oh, and just so you guys know, if you do place orders between now and pretty much Sunday, we're not shipping out this week. Normally we pack orders on a Sunday during the day, and then they ship out on Monday, and then normally we'll pack up on Tuesday, trying to ship out on Wednesday. But because Reefapalooza is all day Sunday, and we have to break down and then bring everything back home and put it all away, it's not going to be practical for us to ship out orders that Sunday. So this week, if you place orders, just know that they're going to ship out on Wednesday, our next typical shipping day. That's typically what we do. I've also had a notice on the website for the last, I think, 2 or 3 weeks now, just because with Father's Day, we weren't going to ship out on Father's Day Sunday, but we wound up doing it anyway, even though it said on the website we weren't going to. So it was kind of the last minute thing. I know normally Jake and Ashley, they like to spend Father's Day with their dads, and didn't want to come in last year, so I was gonna give them off again, but they decided they wanted to come in because they did stuff on Saturday. So yeah, if you placed orders, they already shipped out this past week, and yeah, so should be getting those in the mail soon. Also, coming up on the beginning of the month, July 1st, there will be some website changes, mainly affecting shipping prices and plant prices. I haven't decided exactly what we're doing just yet, but I will say that the shipping price, well, let me start off with this. The plant price on pretty much all plants will go down a little bit. However, the shipping price is going to go higher, and I haven't decided if we're going to keep free shipping at $30 yet or not. So if you're looking to take advantage of free shipping at the $30 mark, make sure you take advantage of that now. Hi. There may also be changes in the future to the rewards program, which is 10% back right now. What? No whining. And also the bulk discounts may change a bit too. I have to play around with the numbers behind the scenes and all that, but once I iron all those out, I'll make a post about what exactly changed. But overall, I'm trying to make it easier for the customer to order, and cheaper in the long run. So we had changed things around a couple months ago to see how it would work out, and I've gotten some feedback, and I kind of know where I need to make some changes. So that's what we're going to try and do. Starting in July. Maybe I may not be exactly on the 1st. It's probably going to be like the first week of July, just because July 4th weekend I'm off, so it may be easier for me to just implement it then. But we shall see. What? The baby wants to come in. Nova. Nova, come on. Hey. But yeah, so if you guys, if you come out to Reefapalooza, we're going to have a bunch of plants, some things that we don't normally carry, I'm getting in. If you're saltwater, come by the booth. I'm going to have some things like red mangroves. I also ordered Cheetomorpha algae, which is pretty much a really good algae for saltwater tanks and refugiums. We're gonna be having there. It's not something that we would normally sell on the website, but I did find a source for it, and I decided to order some for what? for the event. I think because last year we got a lot of people asking us. So the baby wants to come in here. So yeah, so what else? Oh, we're gonna have bigger driftwood than we would normally have. That's on the website. We're gonna have bigger pieces of this wood called tiger wood. It's actually something that we don't sell on the website just because it's so difficult to ship. And then the what else? We're gonna have also. Oh, we're gonna have a bunch of stones and stuff. All right, hold on. Let me get her because she's just gonna keep crying. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. All right. Are you happy now? Are you happy now? Yeah, that's you right there. You see you? No. She loves to push the buttons. No pushing buttons. No. No. Can you say hi? Up. Where did your thing go? I don't know where it went. It dropped. I'm sorry. I can't find it. So on top of the tiger wood, we'll also have a bunch of different stone. We're also going to have bags of substrate, big bags. It was actually last year around this time I had ordered a bunch of bags of substrate for different projects, and I have a lot of leftovers. So I'm actually going to be selling them for less than retail at the event. So it's going to be a great deal if you want to come out pick up some substrate bags. She just wants to be on her camera time. Yeah, you just want to be on camera and see all the peoples while you're looking around. There's nothing over there. Yeah? Can you show them where your hair is? Where's your hair? Hair? Where's your hair? Where's your eyes? Where's your eyes? No? Where's your nose? You just like looking at yourself? That's you right there. You see you? Where's your mouth? No? Okay. How much is the substrate? So I was thinking about doing $45 a bag. It's a 10-liter bags of contra soil. So normally they retail for $50 plus shipping. So you're saving on shipping and you're getting a $5 discount off the bag itself. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And then, but it's a 10-liter bag, so you'll have a ton of it. It's like, if you're doing small tanks, it's really good because you... What? No touchy computer. No, not right now. So the substrate will be pretty good. I think that's reasonable. Because it's a large bag. You could probably do, like... I think it only took 4 bags to do a 75-gallon of that, which is pretty dang good. No touchy. Why do you have to touchy? Why can't you just sit? Why can't you just sit? Just sit. Just sit. Can you just sit? Why you gotta be all over the place? Why? Okay, how about this? You wanna play with the battery? It's heavy though. I'm gonna hold it. Let's see. Yeah, look, push that button. You see? Now you have to push it. There you go, push it. No, don't scratch it. Any driftwood and rocks didn't catch the first. Yeah. So Brett, I'd mentioned we're gonna have a bunch of driftwood. We're gonna have some tiger wood, which is really cool wood that normally we don't stock just because it's so big. And branchy, it's difficult to ship. Yeah, you talking to them? So the wood is a very nice wood, the tiger wood especially. On top of that, we're gonna have tons of rocks. What? No, you can't have that. You can have this. So the rocks, we're also gonna be having tons of rocks. We're gonna have I got a couple large pieces of dragonstone left, and then I have some Icelandic lava rock, red petrified wood, Got a bunch of things, and we're doing an even bigger discount on the rocks. I think last year I sold them for $4 a pound. This year I just want to get rid of what I have left, so I'm doing $3 a pound. So that's, you know, even cheaper than last time we did an event. What? What? Okay. Yeah, push that button. Push it. Push it. And then we'll have other pieces of driftwood also. We'll also have some pond plants there with us. We'll have some terrarium plants in that we don't normally carry that often. We'll also have, what else? The saltwater plants. We're going to have the terrarium plants, some tissue culture plants. Oop. You see? So yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Last year was a lot of fun. Very busy though. Saturday was extremely busy last year. Sunday wasn't as busy, so you know, if you're coming by the booth, definitely try and get there. You know, Saturday, because things may sell out. And this time I ordered a lot less than we did last time, just because I over-ordered last time, and we were stuck with a lot of excess inventory that you know, was difficult to deal with. What? So yeah, this year we're a little light on the inventory, but I think we should sell about 90% of it, so I'll be happy with that. Push that button. And we're bringing the Paludarium tank, so if you want to take a look at the Paludarium tank, I did a nice little refresh on it, cleaned it up a bit, and it's coming with us, so get to check that out. Oh, that reminds me, I have to look for that. Dang. What? What's over there? What's over there? No. No touchy the microphone. So if you guys have any, feel free to ask any plant questions, any aquarium questions. Be happy to answer them if I can without her interrupting. What? I also, so when I did the Paludarium, I kind of refreshed, I filmed that, so that's going to be a video coming out soon. I was going to air it this weekend, but with Father's Day and all that, I got a little busy, and I couldn't take it, you know, didn't have the time really to sit down and edit it. Plus I have to film a little bit more, but it's coming together. No, Margaret, she's bleeding. She got mosquito bites and she's scratching at them. Okay, mommy. Yeah, she got bitten up bad over the weekend. What? Okay. No, stop scratching. You done? Margaret? But she's scratching and she's bleeding. Yeah. Hold on. What? Stop scratching your leg, okay? Leave it be. Okay, you want to take my phone? Take my phone. So anyway, let's see. Oh, we'll be at booth 715, by the way. It's going to be, if you came out to where we were last year at Reefapalooza, it's along the same aisle, just a bit further back. Time for you to go to mommy. Alrighty. Okay. So, let's see what we got going on here. We also, Ashley, the girl that works for me, also recently brought home a goldfish. So we now have another goldfish Thinking about putting it in the tank with Lucky, but he is, I don't know, maybe a little too big. What's up, Famous Jones? How's it going? The baby is not happy. Sorry for the crying. She's not happy. Dang, it's hot back here. Anyway. Oh, so, there's this new plant. Well, not really a new plant, but a plant that our supplier now has, like, at a more readily available thing. And I'm gonna try and do a video on it in the next, like, week or two. But it's this, plant called Litorola unifloria, I think it's called. Let me double check the name. Because it's a really interesting plant that I've been using in I have it in the 75 in my 75 tank with all the rare plants, but yeah, so it's Litorola unifloria. Now it's a very unique plant, the way it looks underwater. I'm gonna link it in chat if you want to check it out. That plant right there. So it's a carpeting plant, and it resembles, to me, it's a lot like a almost like a succulent, like a cacti, without the spikes on the leaves, but the leaves are very plump. It's similar, it kind of looks like a grass plant, like whatchamacallit, like dwarf sage or micro sword. But the leaves are just so rounded and like plump that they're just really interesting to look at. And so we got some in recently, and I was testing it out and to make sure, because sometimes like we'll get, you know, new plants get added to the supplier list all the time, and like we'll try it out, and when we put it in our tanks, it just does not do well, and I can't really sell that because I don't want to sell something that's not gonna do well in other people's aquariums. Like, not to say that you know, our tanks, like, we're better than everybody else, but like, if I can't get it at least to stabilize and be decent, then it's not going to be something that I think I should sell, because one, by the time it ships out, it's probably not going to look great, and two, you know, I want the people buying it to have success, so I don't want to sell anything that's like half, you know, half quality on the plant, like something that's not good. So I've been testing it out, and we put in these pots, and it is already sending out runners like crazy in just a couple of weeks. And all the tall growth, like if you look at the picture that I originally took, all that tall growth melted back. Now it's short, and it's really short. It's a very compact carpeting plant, and I have no CO2 in the aquarium. I just have medium light, and it's growing just fine, and growing pretty quickly. So I definitely recommend it. What happened? Okay, she's upset. So yeah, so Litorola, I definitely recommend that. Litorola uniflora. I just linked it in the chat there. You could check that out. It's a really cool plant. I want to do a full video on it, but like, it's medium light. All right, mommy's making a bottle now for you. Okay, chill out. She's very upset. Very upset, baby. Yeah, I know. So let's see. What up, Caroline? Your little girl's beautiful. Thank you. Can pond snails live outside of an aquarium long? Or live long outside of the aquarium? Do you mean like just above the water line, or like do they crawl out, or what is the scenario? Because typically, as long as they don't dry out, they're fine. Even some of my pond snails, they'll sit up above the water line a bit. I don't know why. They just like to get up there, but then they typically go back down into the aquarium and do their thing. So pond snails, I mean, even if like one or two were to crawl out, they're very prolific breeders. So, do you recommend a circulation pump for a planted tank? JR Grande 123. Thank you for the question. So as far as circulation pumps, it's gonna depend on your aquarium. So too much flow can be a bad thing, but not enough flow can be a bad thing also. And typically what you want to see is you want your water, so if your filter can turn over your water at least 4 times an hour, everybody recommends 10. Like if you could do 10 times an hour for your filtration turnover, which is basically like if you had a 10-gallon tank and you had a 100-gallon per hour filter, so something that would cycle the water 100 gallons per hour, that means you're going to cycle that tank 10 times an hour, which is awesome. That's really good. It's over filtering, so no matter what you put in there, unless like it's packed to the brim with fish, should be good. Now, that's not always the scenario. Most people don't have kind of those larger filters, or you really don't want to oversize too much when it comes to an aquarium. Sometimes if you're thinking about a 10-gallon tank, 100-gallon per hour filter, maybe a massive canister filter to actually do that 10 gallons per hour, or that 10 times per hour. And that may cost too much flow in the aquarium where it's like whipping your fish around. They can't even swim against it. So usually anything above like 4 or 5 times an hour is good. And to kind of help with that, you could also introduce a circulation pump. And while a circulation pump isn't necessarily filtering the water, it's moving it around enough so that way it's not remaining stagnant where like things are going to settle too much or whatnot, and like fish detritus and leftover food and all that can get blown around enough so that either the filter can soak it up, it could get used by plants properly, or anything like that. You could also use it to kind of break the surface of the water. So if you ever notice like an oily film on the top of your water, you could use a circulation pump to point up at it, and that would help to kind of take care of that surface film. So it really depends on what you're looking for. In most of my aquariums, I don't have one. I don't have a circulation pump just because the filters are normally good enough. But if you're under filtered, you may want to be looking at that. Oh, and Caroline is referring to when she pours the water from her aquariums, I guess, onto her orchids. She wants to know how long do the pond snails live for. Yeah, they won't. They'll once they dry out, which probably will be, within a couple of hours, a day at most. They'll just dry up and die. So you don't have to worry about them on your orchids. You'll just see their little shell left behind usually, unless you're overwatering it and you're keeping it in a very moist environment, in which case they may survive longer than that. So I would just try and filter. What I typically do is, if I ever need to filter something like that, you take the cup full of water, take a fishing net, one of your nets, and just pour the water through the net. If it's got fine holes, it'll trap all that stuff, and you can either throw it back in the tank or in the garbage or whatever. That would be fine. What up, Aqua Noob and Matthew Moore Cichlids? What's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. So, but yeah, so I have to say, one thing I've been doing, little thing. I finally hopped into the show Game of Thrones, and for the last, probably about the last 3 weeks, I went from season 1, and right now we're on the last season. We got 2 episodes left, me and Margaret, so we're gonna be watching those tonight of the season 8. And the show, I'm one of those. I watched Breaking Bad when the final season was airing. I finally took the dive into it and started watching it. I was so glad that I did, because having to wait in between those breaks of a year before they air the shows has been it's it would suck, So kind of doing the same thing with Game of Thrones, and we powered through the last 8 seasons pretty much in less than a month. I think it feels like it's less than a month. And stop at season 7 for your own sanity. I know I heard everybody complaining about it. I haven't read too many spoilers. I have a feeling I know how it's going to end, though, just based on everybody's reaction and kind of where we're at. So the last episode I watched was, for those of you that are watching Game of Thrones, I'm going to give maybe a minor spoiler, but where the puffy hair girl dies, that's where I left off on. So we have the final 2 episodes, and you can just see it in Daenerys' face that it's not gonna go well for the final 2 episodes. So, but I'm excited. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the last couple episodes of season 8, I've enjoyed. So I don't know. Are we experiencing some lag here? I think it looks no. Okay, we're back. So I've enjoyed the last couple episodes of season 8. So we're on. I don't think it's been terrible. I really hope that the ending isn't as bad as everybody says it is, but we'll see. But I've really enjoyed the show. The bummer about doing this, though, the bummer about waiting for shows to be done or almost done in their like final seasons or so, and then you start watching it, is you power through them, and then it's like, dang, I already did this in like the last 3 weeks, and it's like, what am I gonna watch now? So yeah, it's a catch-22 with it, but I really enjoy it so far. And the whole Arya thing, she is my favorite character out of the whole show right now. I hope they don't ruin that in the last 2 episodes, but she is by far like my favorite. She's such a badass. What is the best way to keep plants planted in eco-complete? I've got quarries, and they're constantly digging up my green Kambamba. Well, Bright, that's kind of like, it's a trick question to answer here because Kambamba doesn't grow the best roots. So, and they typically melt when submerged, like when their when their stem is in gravel. Typically, they tend to melt a bit. It's a little tough. So what you kind of want to do is maybe look at plant anchors, and what you do is you wrap the bottom of the stem with the plant anchor, and then the plant will stay kind of anchored to the bottom of the substrate, and eventually its roots will work its way down to the substrate. But that little piece that's like touching the substrate typically melts in my experience. Not all the time, but most of the time it does. So really like plant anchors, or if you were to, I'm trying to think what else you could do. You could maybe make like a makeshift weight with using like a bottle cap, drill a hole in it, and you basically take the stem, you slip it through the hole, and then you bury that and you put gravel in there, and that could work for you. But it's a little tricky to do that. So. Oh, Nisi is in the house. What's going on, Nisi? I haven't seen you in a while. Arya is gold. She's what kept me reading, watching. I know how to spell Arya. Yeah. No, she's... I haven't read the books, but she is, like, the most amazing character. I guess it's, like... I don't know. The whole thing with the White Walkers and all that is just, like, oh, my God, this is, like, the best thing ever. So, I'm a big fan. She's by far my favorite. I know a lot of people probably like Daenerys and Jon Snow, but Arya is by far my favorite. She's just a badass. There's no other way to put it. Let's see. What up, Jonah? What is the best substrate you use? Well, the best substrate I use is, I would say, like the Contra soil. It's a very nutrient-rich substrate. It's also got clay mixed into it, so it holds nutrients very well. But you can grow plants without that stuff. I mean, I have plants in my goldfish tank, which is just sand. Simple, ordinary pool filter sand, and it grows plants just fine. So, the substrate is very, don't get me wrong. You want to grow plants the best way possible, and you got the money to spend on substrate, go right ahead. You will definitely have some success with that. But if you want to try your luck, you can do it with sand, and usually it will work out. Maybe just supplementing some root tabs, and you'd be good to go. So, but anything in between, so I've used the Contra soil, which is basically ADA aqua soil. It's very similar. I've used aqua soil. I've used stratum. Have I used stratum? I think I've used stratum. No, I don't think I used stratum, actually. I haven't used stratum. I've used pool filter sand. I've used Eco Complete. I've used Seachem fluorite. I've used black diamond blasting sand. I've used like regular sand from Petco or PetSmart. So any of those are fine. Just go based on your budget. And when you have a smaller aquarium, it's a lot easier because like if you have a small aquarium, you only need a small bag of substrate. You could splurge on the higher grade substrate if you have a smaller aquarium. But when you get into larger aquariums, it becomes more costly because you need more of it. So, Jay Grande or JR or Junior Grande says, "What do you think about acrylic tanks? Are they worth the extra cash?" I would only do acrylic tanks if I was getting a large aquarium, and that's just because they have a better, better strength to them. But if you're doing smaller aquariums, they're not worth the money. I would say unless you're doing like anything over like a 250 or 500 gallon tank, I wouldn't bother with acrylic. Now, with that said, if you could get acrylic, maybe used, if somebody's, selling a used tank, or you're, going to make an acrylic tank and save a bunch of money on it, go right ahead. But I don't think buying a brand new acrylic tank that's small is worth it. Absolutely not. Plus, I mean, it depends. If you're doing like an aquascape, you want really good visibility. Acrylic isn't very visible. Like, it's cloudy usually. It's not 100% like crystal clear like glass is. So I definitely like the glass that like I use for these aquariums that I have here are very like crystal clear, so they're good. Easy says, "I have eco-complete fluvial stratum sand. Depends on how much maintenance you want to do, really." Yeah, that is true. What is your favorite plant? My go-to is always like Anubis or Bucephalandra. Those are my favorites. But I mean, I like all plants. It's really depending. Let's see. Fire Dragon says, "I ordered some dwarf water lettuce on May 7th. I received on May 13th. I put them in my tropical tank. Over time, they started to die. Thought it might be a nutrient problem. So I used Flourish. That didn't work, and I only have one left." Fire Dragon, did you just email us, like, I think maybe yesterday or so? Because I believe I replied to you, if it was you. If it wasn't you, then, let's see. That person actually just emailed me back, so I don't know. So, okay. So I don't know if this is the actual person or not. But in any event, oh yeah, it was you. Okay. So, Fire Dragon, well, I was going to say I'm going to reship you out some just because even though they came in looking great, I don't, whatever the issue is, they may have gotten hot, but they looked great when they did get in. I mean, they were all still green and all that. The one thing I will say is if I see here on one of the pictures, there's some bubbles. If you have a bubbler and the top of the leaves are getting wet, that could instantly pretty much destroy the plant. You need to keep the tops dry of dwarf water lettuce, or really any floating plant. The tops of the plants need to stay dry. So I've also seen it where people have lids on their aquarium. They have like tight-fitting glass lids that build up a ton of humidity, and then eventually you see condensation on the lids, and eventually it starts to drip down. That's another way it kills all these floating plants, is all that liquid that touches those leaves over and over again, it just causes the leaves to melt back. So I would definitely recommend, if you have a bubbler, try and isolate the dwarf water lettuce from the bubbler. So a lot of people, they'll use like air hose, and they'll loop it together, and that'll cause like a floating ring. And then you could kind of use like a suction cup hook to hook that ring to like a different side of the aquarium and keep the plant separated from where the bubbler is, or the or hang on back filters are another thing. If you have a hang on back filter, that constant water flow coming over is pushing the plant down, or just getting the tops of it wet, that would also cause it to die out. Because looking at the pictures when you first got them in, they were still green. If they were yellow, then I would say, okay, no, they didn't do well during shipping. But I'll still ship you out another batch, just because I get how it is. Sometimes the plants don't take well. So, but just keep those in mind if you're doing it. And also, it like sometimes we'll ship ones that are like this big, just because I'm trying to clear out the bigger ones that we have. Just because as they get bigger and bigger, they produce a lot of babies. But they take up so much room in the tanks where we're growing them in, that it's hard for us to grow any new ones. So I try and ship out the bigger ones. The bigger ones have adjusted to our light. They've grown in our light and all that, and they're used to our lighting setup. Now, if they go into a different environment with a different light, they're going to wind up shrinking. All their leaves that were growing in our aquariums are going to melt back, they're going to die back, and eventually there's going to be smaller leaves that suit your aquarium. So just, that could be a couple different things that is going on there. So, is adding new plants to a tank a way to combat BBA? Well, having more plant matter is a way to kind of slow it down. BBA, for the most part, unless you either manually remove it, chemically treat it, or get something that's going to eat it off of the leaves, it's just going to continue to stay there. So you have to kind of do maintenance to remove it, whether it's, typically if it's easy enough for me to pull off leaves or equipment, I'll just do it like that. Sometimes I'll take full pieces of equipment, run them under burning hot water, so like the filter output to most of the filters I have. Sometimes I'll get blackbeard algae, and I'll just take that and run it directly under hot water, and that'll kill all the algae. It'll immediately turn like a pinkish or gray color, and it's pretty much dead. The snails will take care of it after that. So, fluorite is good? Yes, fluorite is good. I've been on the DL. I messed up my hand cleaning up after the earthquake last November and had a promotion at work. Oh, wow. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, well, I hope everything's all right. I didn't even know there was an earthquake by you. I hope everything is okay, though. Any ideas why my aquarium glass seems to get a real lot of biofilm? It's interesting. Is it like the whole aquarium? It could just mean maybe there isn't enough, because keep in mind, biofilm grows on everything in the aquarium. You may have a super heavy bioload that is causing all that biofilm to grow, because essentially the biofilm is growing to combat the amount of biological material you have in the aquarium. So you may have too much, maybe you're feeding too much. The other thing could be is maybe you don't have enough surface area for it to grow, because it'll grow on plants, rocks, driftwood, even your gravel. So if you don't have a lot of substrate, that could be one thing. Typically, having a decent amount of substrate, like an inch or two thick, will give it enough surface area where most of that biofilm should be growing there. And or your filter, you may be under-filtered also. So those are possibles. Will T8 bulb work for long-term plant growth? Yes, as long as it is in a properly sized aquarium. So, but for the most part, yes. How's the flow in your tank? Floaters that don't like a lot of movement. Yeah, lots of movement also can kill floaters. They like to pretty much, they want to be almost in stagnant water is honestly where they thrive. Like if you ever look at a pond or like a lake that's been neglected and people throw floating plants in there, because that's happened before with invasive plants and whatnot, they'll just take over if it's stagnant water because they're not getting pushed around. So that's possible. I've also figured out a way. Nisi brings it up. I killed duckweed in my tanks until I changed my filter out. I've actually figured out how to kill duckweed in the aquariums where I want to get rid of it. Hang on back filter. All I'm doing now is I'm putting it in a hang on back filter. It's constantly pushing down the duckweed, and it is just there's this one tank that's almost rid of the duckweed. That's how close it is, because it's just been doing so well. The plants you linked earlier, should I order some online or will you be selling it Saturday? Very interested in trying that out. I probably won't have any at the convention, but Brett, if you message me Friday night on Instagram or Facebook and say, hey, can you bring some of the Uniflora with you? I'll bring, just tell me how many you want. I think I may have 4 or 5 pots. Just shoot me a message. I also will have tissue cultures too, probably. I'll have tissue cultures if they don't sell between now and then. But I also have tank grown ones that are equally as good. So it's really up to you. But yeah, if you want any, just message me on Facebook or Instagram Friday night, and that way I can pack them up Friday night and bring them with me Saturday. Also, do you ever sell red melon swords? I don't typically carry them, but I can get them if you'd like. I obviously wouldn't have them by Friday or this weekend, because I've already gotten my order placed in that is arriving tomorrow. So, yeah. What would you recommend for a light fixture? It really depends on your aquarium. I like the, what are these? The Asta 20s for smaller aquariums. They're the little pendant lights. I like the Twin Stars if you're really looking to go high tech. The Fluval 3.0s are really good. 2.0s is what I use, but I hear the 3.0s are equally as good. Maybe just slightly less output. And, yeah. Anchorage in south central Alaska was hit with a 7.2 earthquake. Dang, followed by a 5.4 aftershock. Moments later, so much drywall damage. Dang. At least the 180 didn't break. Yeah, you're lucky. Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad that, it's just some drywall damage that is fixable. It doesn't sound too serious, but dang, that's crazy. If I move a plant from a medium light tank to a low light tank, will that affect the plant? Yep. Anytime you move a plant, whether it's even in the same aquarium, if you take a plant and move it from one side to the other, you may be influencing a lot of parameters. Say your light it has the most light, the most light in the middle of the where it's coming down from, right? As you go down like this from the light gets less and less from the sides because the most light is concentrated downwards, and also the distance spreads out. So, if you had a plant directly under that light and then you moved it to maybe the back of the aquarium, that's less light, it may not do well. So, anytime you move it, it's going to adjust. It's going to take time to adjust. So, you may take a plant and it has 10 leaves, and all of a sudden you put it in a new aquarium and it may lose, 5 of them. And that's going to be normal because you're moving it from one place to another, and every tank chemistry is different than one another. That's not to say you can't. I mean, that's how we sell aquarium plants. They come from our aquariums to your aquariums. You put them in there, and then maybe you move them around. So it's completely possible you can do it. Just know that you're going to maybe shed some leaves. It's going to struggle a little bit. Maybe it's going to take some time to really bounce back. And definitely if it's going from medium light to low light, in most cases that's less light, it's going to grow slower. So just keep that in mind. Do you know anything about breeding behavior in reservoirs? Unfortunately, I don't. I am not a fish breeding expert. I see we have Greg Jones in here. Greg Jones, I believe, has bred some fish. I know he's done some axolotls. Maybe he'll have some insight into that. Hey, Justin, wish I could make it up to wrap. Have fun. I definitely appreciate it. Hope to see you at Aquatic Experience this year. We will be attending Aquatic Experience. I also paid for that. That's in October, so if you're not making it out to Reefapalooza, make sure you come out to Aquatic Experience. Reefapalooza, obviously, it's got reef in the name. It's primarily for saltwater people, but there are some freshwater things, not ideal. It's not, all like 50-50, but I would say you probably got maybe like 20% freshwater people there. There may be even more this year. I haven't really taken a look at the lineup. And there's also tons of vendors though, as far as like manufacturers like Fluval and Hydor and who else? There's a lot of them. So I definitely recommend coming out. Do you sell Ludwigia Super Red? Yes, I do. It's actually one of my favorite our favorite red plant, and I sell a lot of it. I don't know if I have any in stock at the moment. If I don't, I may have some tomorrow coming in. But yeah, just stay on the lookout. If there's ever a plant that you want to check out on the website, for one, if you don't find it on the website, you could just search it. Just type in like Ludwigia, and it'll give you all the Ludwigias we carry. Because sometimes, all the time, whenever a plant is out of stock, it comes off of the like the regular plant list. You actually have to go to the out of stock plants to take a look at it. I just made it that way so it's easier for people to see what you could buy now. Because a lot of people, myself included, if I go to a website, I see a bunch of things out of stock. I'm like, well, maybe I won't order anything until they get these in. And then sometimes with the plants, because plants can be seasonal, we won't have any. Like Red Tiger Lotus. Red Tiger Lotus could take months for us to get in. And then when we have it, it sells like wildfire. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. So it happens a lot. But we do have Ludwigia SP Red here. It is a very nice plant. Let me just, I think, did I see Nisio linked it? I appreciate it, EC. Thank you. But yeah, it's a really nice plant. So, is the best way to control jungle valve height to cut it at the base when it gets too big, and wait for a new stem to grow in its place? So yeah, well, it really is going to depend on what your end goal is, Bill. So, if and I've explained this a couple times in the past, when you trim a valve or when you trim any leaf, right, you're damaging the leaf. So when you give it a haircut across, you're damaging that leaf. Eventually, it's going to die. It may not die right away. It may take a couple of weeks, but eventually, it's not going to do well. It may turn brown. It may get algae on it because it's damaged. You know, algae likes damaged material. That's where it grows a lot on. And so when you damage the leaf, it may die back, but new leaves will normally pop up. Now, if you say are maintaining escape and you just want to keep the leaves a certain height, you could trim them across. Yes, just know that eventually they may tatter. Or you could trim it further down by the base of the plant, and that way you're eliminating the whole leaf, and you're not going to have to worry about that leaf turning brown or getting, nasty on you. So. I have trouble growing Doorfare Grass. Could you give me advice? Well, if it's the true Doorfare Grass, it is a bit tricky. It's a very slow grower. Unless you have CO2 and high light. If you have low to medium light and you have no CO2, it's just going to take a very long time to grow. So I would opt out of that if that's not the scenario. Now, if you have high light and CO2, let's say, and it's not growing properly for you, or is it your trouble? Is it like not growing fast, or is it just not growing at all, or is it dying back a lot? Like what are the scenarios here? Because when you say you're having trouble, it could be a couple different things, and those could have different outcomes. It's dying. Is it like turning brown? And how recent did you get it? Because it could just be going through its transitional period. That's very possible also. Yeah, I got it 3 weeks ago. That kind of sounds like it may be still going through its transitional period. Do you see any new growth? The trick is if you see new green growth coming up, or that wasn't there before, that is really the like the saving grace. If you have new growth, then the plant should do fine. It's when you don't have any new growth that can really make a difference. Thanks for answering my question about the biofilm. The aquarium is lightly stocked in cory cats and shrimp, but I don't feed much, but all sides in the glass get covered quickly by biofilm. Well, I mean, if you have shrimp, I would just leave it alone. Biofilm is great for them. What kind of stuff are you bringing to wrap? So I got red mangroves. I got Cheeto, Cheeto Morpha, or Cheeto, whatever it's called, the Cheeto algae for saltwater aquariums for refugiums and stuff like that. I was able to source that. So I have those. I got rocks, driftwood, substrate, plants, terrarium plants, pond plants. You can make shrimp and grits. It reminds me of Forrest Gump. But I got pretty much all that, and I don't know what else do I got. I think that might be everything. Got some Repashi foods, I think. Fertilizers, we're bringing fertilizers too. Got quite a bit. So Jonah says a tiny bit. So if you have a tiny bit of new growth, I would say you're good. Just give it some time. I would give it like another month before you start worrying. If you're seeing new growth, then you're good. Just 90 inspiration for my office tanks. I have 3 nano tanks, a 2.6 fluval EBI, a rimless 2.5, and a 2.0. What plants would you recommend for such small setups? Well, the one that I linked earlier, the Littorella, is like my new favorite carpeting plant. I'm gonna be doing a video on this soon, but it's a really cool plant for like foregrounds, and it looks big in the picture. It gets really tiny though as it melts back and adjusts. So that is one of the better plants for foreground. That's my new favorite. But I mean, Bucephalandrid, if you don't have any, that's a good one. I don't think I have any in stock right now, but I should have some in a week or two of Bucephalandrid. You also got mosses, Physidens novalis or Physidens fontanus. Very cool mosses that are unique. They're not like the typical Java mosses. They're a bit different. They're relatively easy to grow. Ludwigia sp red is a nice red plant for smaller aquariums that stays pretty much small. What else? You got Anubis nanopetit, Anubis effizelli are relatively small growers. Moss balls, you can do a lot of interesting things with moss balls. Trying to think what else. Small. Crypts, so like Cryptwendiddy, Cryptolution, Cryptocati, Cryptparvas, those are all good ones too. Cryptlutea. Cryptlutea is like my new favorite small crypt because it's just so cool. It's like between a Lucian and a Parva is where I put Lutea. It's like not as big as Lucian, but not as small as Parva. So, pretty good. Besides that, what else? Rosette Sword is a nice sword plant that stays relatively small. I like it. I think that's all I can think. Oh, Monte Carlo is a good one too. Do you know anything about shrimp? I know a little bit about shrimp. I'm not a shrimp expert, but I do know a decent amount. So if you have shrimp questions, feel free to ask. Got another about 5 minutes here, so feel free to ask whatever questions you guys want. And we will be back with another stream in 2 weeks. So be back then. I always yawn when I'm sitting back here. Always. I don't know what the deal is. I think it's this room. It makes me yawn a lot. So, let's see. So yeah, just so everybody knows, I want to just say Reefapalooza again this coming weekend. Booth 715. Pretty much when you walk in the building, you go to the right. When you get into the show floor, you just go to your right, and then you go straight down that aisle, and we're like towards the back-ish. We're going to be on the left-hand side when you do that. What? You have terrarium plans on the website now? That's wonderful. Yeah, so we sometimes have them in. It's tricky because they don't sell a lot, and then it's like, it's difficult. But if you specifically want a terrarium plant and you see it on the website, just message me and I'll order it, especially for you. With our normal orders, just because it's easier for me to do it that way. Watched your video on best algae eater last night. How did those work out? They're great, actually. That's a really old video too. I should probably do an update on those. They're great algae eaters. They decimate everything. Just fine leaf plants don't work out the best unless you're feeding them a lot, and if you're kind of feeding them a lot, then they're not algae eating. So if you have Rotella Wallichii, not the best algae eater for that scenario. It's really just Rotella Wallichii that I experienced it with. Other than that, definitely very good algae eaters. The articulated flying foxes. One of my shrimps has eggs. I believe. How long do they take to hatch? I believe, is it a month? I want to say it's a month. Tips on growing Rotella. My hydro is growing crazy recently with adding ferts, but my Rotella is doing bad compared to it. It barely grows. Maybe just trim it a lot. Rotella likes to be trimmed hard. So I would trim it, replant the tops, trim it some more. It also will take a bit to get going. It has a really good root structure, so you got to wait for those roots to really establish, and then it'll take off. What size water changes would you do on a 15-gallon aquarium, and how often? Honestly, I like less is more, so I would do maybe like 10 to 15%, and I would do that maybe once a week, depending on what you're doing though with it. Because if you're trying to if like you're trying to breed fish, then maybe you want to do more water changes. If you feed a lot, do more water changes. Me, I don't feed often. I feed every other day or every other 2 days, and then I feed. So it really depends on what you're doing to that tank and how many plants you have in it too. If it's not heavily planted, then you probably have to do more water changes. Any recommendations on how to split my dwarf banana plant? I see 3 or 4 shoots. Are you talking about the like pond dwarf banana plant that you got from me, Greg? On Co-op's video, Gary Lang said fully planted tank. A fully planted tank. It will keep algae down. Do you think this is true? Yes and no. Like, you'll still get algae. Algae is inevitable. It'll eventually happen. But the more plants you have, the less likely you are to get algae. That doesn't mean it won't happen, but you'll stand a better chance. The more plants you have, the less that everything is available for the algae. So the more plants you have, the more photo energy that the what is it called? Photosynthesized light that the plants use, all that light rays, the radiation, the light radiation is absorbed by all the plants that are there. So if you have all these plants that are absorbing that radiation, the algae can't utilize that. If you have a lot of plants, they're also utilizing all the nutrition in the substrate or in your aquarium, so they're depriving the algae of that. They're also shading lots of the aquarium, so it's harder for algae to grow in shade. But you could still get it. It's not to say you won't get it. It's just it's going to eliminate a lot of possibilities. Pond plant, yes. Actually, if you have pups coming up, you could just kind of. I would cut around where the pup is very easily maybe, and I would almost use a chopstick or a paintbrush and kind of brush away the soil. Wait for it to dry a bit, and then brush the soil out of the way, and then try and just separate the pups. But my banana plant, Bruce, has 4 pups around it right now. He's growing crazy, and the pups are coming out like crazy too. So it's a really cool plant. But I haven't separated him yet. I'm just leaving him be. I have a 65 gallon aquarium. I want to know how to keep my jungle val in check. By what do you mean? By growing a lot or trimming it or? Yeah, Rotella Colorada is pretty easy. It's I wouldn't say it's a medium light. It could do low light, but a little bit better of a light may help it out. But I would just say trim it a lot. It just takes a bit for Rotella to get going. But once it does, you're going to have tons of it, and you're going to regret having Rotella. Or at least sometimes I do. I'm like, what? Why did I go with this plant again? It grows like crazy. It sounds like a good video topic. Propagating banana pups. Yeah. I may have to do one, or you may beat me to it because you're gonna actually do yours. I don't want to I like leaving mine the way it is. I think it looks cool with the 4 little pups around it. Eventually, I will have to propagate it out. I also have an aloe plant, my dad's aloe plant that I got when he passed away, and it has 2 large pups in the pot with it now, and it's sprouting a 3rd, and they're getting big really quick. I actually just trimmed one off to help treat Nova. Nova got bad mosquito bites over Father's Day on her legs. We forgot to spray her down with a bug spray. Well, not really forgot. We didn't realize that mosquitoes were out like that, and she got bit up. And they're bad. They're just not looking good. They're bad mosquito bites. So I put some aloe to hopefully soothe it a little bit. She was scratching it up before it made it bleed. So we'll see. Trimming because it grows everywhere. Well, sometimes, Jonah, you're gonna have to thin it out, and by thinning it out, I mean like you're actually gonna have to go in and remove some pieces to take out that are maybe growing in places you don't want to. But also you could trim them down too if you want. Like I had mentioned earlier, if you're here, every time you trim them, though, you're gonna be damaging those leaves, so you're gonna eventually, get more coming out. Do you have any creative ideas to keep guppy grass, nanja grass in place as it floats? Plant anchors could work. You anchor the stem, and then like the stem will sink to the bottom, and it'll float. The leaves up. If you wanted to like float at the top, one thing I had mentioned earlier is you take air hose, and you get like a little connector for the air hose, and you join the air hose in a ring, and then you let the guppy grass float in that ring, kind of, and that'll keep it in place. Yeah, it's supposed to be easy, which is why I gotten them before. I had CO2 and highlight, but it's never done good in my tanks. That's odd. You got CO2 and highlight? It may just, I don't know, it may just be taking a while. I would give it a good trim, though. Anywhere where there's, like, if you see leaves, just trim it down and, like, replant the tops and see how it goes. It may do well. But, what are the best plants for a 10-gallon tank, in your opinion? Anubis Nana Petite, Red Tiger Lotus, Ludwigia SP Red, Ludwigia Ovalis, Ludwigia Ludwigia Ovalis, Ludwigia Repens. You also got like Creeping Jenny is a nice one. Any sword plant can do well. Crypt's really good. Sword plants it could be depending on what you're looking to do. 'Cause sometimes they get a little too big. But yeah, I think that's about it. Does dwarf 4-leaf clover need CO2? No, it does not. It is actually a very easy plant to grow. You just got to give it time, but it will grow, and it grows like crazy. So, all right, guys, it is the hour mark. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will hopefully see most of you or any of you at Reefapalooza. If I don't see you there and you're coming to Aquatic Experience, I look forward to seeing you then. But can Tiger Lotus go near an aquarium clear? The flow won't damage the pads unless it's sinking them. So just make sure that the water flow isn't hitting the pads. So, but all right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I gotta actually go make a mock scape up for somebody with some rocks and driftwood, and then I'm gonna go finish Game of Thrones, the last 2 episodes. So I'll see you guys hopefully soon. I'm hoping to have a video done this weekend. Or for this weekend. I don't know if I will, though, just because of Reefapalooza, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if anything, I will see you guys soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, a good weekend, and I'll see you later.